The phone rings in the Bristol police station, shattering the quiet of a late February afternoon. A trembling voice on the other end pleads, "Please, if anyone has seen or heard from my daughter, just let me know she's safe." It's Darren Galsworthy, a father gripped by dread. His 16-year-old daughter, Becky Watts, vanished from their home in Crown Hill, Bristol, without a trace. She left with only her phone, tablet, and laptop. No spare clothes, no note, no hint of where she might have gone. For a girl described as shy yet fiercely loyal, this was unthinkable. As the call ends, a chilling realization settles in. This isn't just a missing person case. Something far darker is at play, and the truth will unravel a nightmare that shocks a nation. Background and setup: Rebecca Watts, known to her loved ones as Becky, was a vibrant 16-year-old with a spark that lit up the lives of those around her. Born on June 3, 1998, to parents Darren and Tanya, Becky's early years were marked by challenges. Her parents split before she was born, and she spent her early childhood with her mother, Tanya. Concerns about neglect led to Becky and her younger brother, Dan, being taken into care briefly before they began living with their father, Darren, in Bristol. Despite the upheaval, Becky blossomed into a spirited teenager, bubbly and feisty with a wicked sense of humor among those she trusted. At school, she was quieter, often retreating into her shy nature, but her teachers spoke of her huge heart and caring spirit. Her small circle of friends adored her, and she cherished them in return. In 2013, Darren married Angie, a woman who brought stability and love into their home. Angie's son, Nathan Matthews, became Becky's stepbrother, and his girlfriend, Shauna Hoare, was a frequent presence in their lives. The family appeared close-knit. Becky served as a bridesmaid at Darren and Angie's wedding, with Nathan as best man and Shauna by his side. But beneath the surface, tension simmered. Nathan, 10 years older than Becky, had a strained relationship with his stepfather, Darren. He lived nearby with his grandmother but often visited the family home. Over the years, small incidents hinted at his troubling behavior. Once bringing young girls to the house, an act Darren swiftly shut down, and later dismissing Becky's struggle with an eating disorder as mere attention-seeking. Becky, meanwhile, was navigating the complexities of adolescence. She had overcome her eating disorder by 2015, emerging stronger and more confident. She was in a relationship with a boyfriend who doted on her, and her life seemed to be on an upward trajectory. On February 18, 2015, she spent the night at a friend's house, laughing and chatting as her usual self. Nothing seemed amiss. The next morning, she returned home to Crown Hill, a quiet residential area in Bristol's St. George neighborhood. It was a Thursday, and her stepmother, Angie, had a hospital appointment, leaving the house empty, except for Becky. The crime: on February 19, 2015, at around 10:50 a.m., Becky sent a text to her boyfriend, mentioning she was listening to music in her room. It was the last message she would ever send. Moments later, a car pulled into the driveway of the Crown Hill home. Unlike his usual habit of parking on the street, Nathan Matthews reversed his Vauxhall Zafira so the boot faced the front door. He wasn't alone; his girlfriend, Shauna Hoare, was with him. They had stopped at a Tesco to buy batteries earlier that morning, a seemingly mundane errand. But what unfolded next was anything but ordinary. Inside the house, Becky was alone, unaware of the danger approaching. Nathan, carrying a large bag containing a stun device, handcuffs, tape, and a mask, climbed the stairs to her bedroom. He knocked on her door. "What?" or perhaps, "Hello," Becky called out, her voice muffled through the door. "Can I see you a minute?" Nathan replied. What happened next was swift and brutal. Nathan later claimed he intended only to scare Becky, to teach her a lesson for what he perceived as selfish behavior toward his mother, Angie. But his actions spiraled into horror. A struggle ensued. The mask slipped, revealing Nathan's face, and panic set in. Becky fought back with everything she had, her small frame no match for Nathan's strength. He suffocated her, likely with a hand over her nose and mouth, as she thrashed in desperation. Within minutes, Becky Watts was dead. Her body, still warm, was stuffed into the bag and carried downstairs to the boot of Nathan's car. The front door slammed shut, a sound Shauna later claimed she heard from the kitchen, assuming Becky had stormed out in a huff. By 12:45 p.m., Angie returned home from her appointment. Nathan and Shauna, with Becky's body hidden in the car outside, acted as if nothing was wrong. They chatted casually with Angie, blending into the normalcy of the day. At 5 p.m., Becky's boyfriend arrived, worried that she hadn't responded to his messages. Shauna, playing the part, checked Becky's room and reported she wasn't there. Darren and Angie, growing uneasy, agreed her silence was out of character. By 7 p.m., Nathan and Shauna left the house, driving home with Becky's body still in the boot. That night, in the bathroom of their cluttered home in Cotton Mill Lane, the unthinkable continued. Nathan dismembered Becky's body in the bathtub, using a circular saw he would later purchase. The tub, scrubbed to a pristine shine, stood in stark contrast to the chaos of the rest of the house, a chilling clue that would later catch the attention of investigators. The couple ordered pizza and Chinese food, as if nothing had happened. Nathan even faked a phone call from a friend, pretending he needed to leave to help someone, before heading to B&Q to buy the tools of his cover-up. Investigation. The alarm was raised the next day, February 20, 2015, at 4 p.m., when Darren made a desperate 999 call. "My daughter's missing," he said, his voice cracking. "She hasn't been seen since yesterday morning. None of her friends know where she is." The police launched a search immediately, but Becky's silence was deafening. Her phone, usually buzzing with texts and social media updates, had gone dark. For a teenager who was always connected, this was a red flag. Detective Chief Inspector Richard Ocone took charge of the case, noting the unusual absence of social media activity. "She was regularly in contact with her friends," he said. "The fact that there's been no communication is deeply concerning." The national media picked up the story, and the hashtag #FindBecky began trending on Twitter. Volunteers scoured woodlands, parks, and lakes near Becky's home, while a helicopter swept the area from above. Posters plastered Bristol, and the community rallied around the family, desperate for answers. Investigators turned their focus to those closest to Becky. They interviewed her stepmother, Angie, who recounted hearing the front door slam, assuming Becky had left. But it was Nathan Matthews and Shauna Hoare, the last people to see Becky, who piqued the police's interest. Their initial interviews were vague, their stories oddly synchronized. Shauna described hearing music from Becky's room, then the door slamming as she washed her hands in the kitchen. "I thought she was in a mood," she said, giggling nervously. Nathan echoed her account, claiming he heard stomping down the stairs and assumed Becky had left. Detective Ocone found their matching narratives suspicious. "Most people's accounts of the same event don't align so perfectly," he noted. It felt rehearsed. On February 25, police searched the Crown Hill home, combing for clues. A forensics team made a chilling discovery: faint spots of blood on Becky's bedroom doorframe, accompanied by fingerprints. Tests confirmed the fingerprints belonged to Nathan Matthews. As they awaited results on the blood, police brought Nathan and Shauna in for a second round of interviews. Shauna maintained her story, claiming she was in the garden smoking when Becky left. Nathan appeared unconcerned, even dismissive, complaining about Becky's rude behavior toward his mother. The breakthrough came when the blood was confirmed as Becky's. On February 28, Nathan and Shauna were arrested on suspicion of kidnapping. But the case took a darker turn when police searched their home. Amid the clutter, the pristine bathtub stood out like a beacon. Then, 2 receipts from B&Q, dated February 20, revealed Nathan had purchased a circular saw, goggles, gloves, and a mask, hours after Becky was reported missing. CCTV footage confirmed he was the buyer. The investigation escalated into a murder inquiry. On March 2, a tip led police to a house in Barton Court, where they found suitcases and bags containing Becky's dismembered body parts, wrapped in plastic and sprinkled with cat litter and salt to mask the smell. The pathology report was harrowing. Becky had fought fiercely, sustaining over 40 injuries, including 15 post-mortem stab wounds. She died from suffocation, her identity confirmed only through DNA. Nathan, now in custody, gave a statement through his lawyer, admitting to killing Becky but claiming it was an accident. He said he planned to scare her to teach her a lesson for being selfish, but the evidence told a different story. Recovered text messages between Nathan and Shauna revealed a disturbing fixation on abducting young girls, with references to pretty schoolgirls and knocking one out to bring her home. Shauna's DNA was found on a bag containing Becky's remains and on a mask, contradicting her claim of non-involvement. Outcome and aftermath. On June 22, 2015, Shauna Hoare was charged with murder alongside Nathan. Their trial began on October 6 at Bristol Crown Court, gripping the nation with its horrifying details. The prosecution argued the couple shared a sexual motive, rooted in an unnatural interest in teenage girls. 2 years earlier, Becky had confided in a friend that Nathan had described in graphic detail how he would murder her, a chilling foreshadowing she never shared with her family. Witnesses painted Nathan as a man with a volatile temper and few friends, his time in the Territorial Army marked by frustration and outbursts. Shauna, meanwhile, claimed she was terrified of Nathan, but her estranged mother's testimony suggested otherwise. "I joked that she was hiding from the police because she'd kidnapped Becky," her mother recalled, noting Shauna's sudden outreach after years of silence. After just 3 hours of deliberation, the jury delivered a unanimous verdict on November 11, 2015. Nathan Matthews was found guilty of kidnapping and murder. Shauna Hoare was acquitted of murder but convicted of kidnapping and manslaughter. Nathan was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum term of 33 years, while Shauna received 17 years. As Nathan was led away, he couldn't meet his family's eyes, staring at the floor in shame. The impact on Becky's family was profound. Darren, who had lost 4 stone from the stress, described his world folding in on itself. His marriage to Angie endured, a testament to their resilience. "If this doesn't break us, nothing will," he said. Tanya, Becky's mother, spoke of her daughter as a beautiful, funny, loving girl whose loss left an unfillable void. "This is my child," she said. "How am I meant to cope?" The community mourned alongside the family. Flowers piled up outside the Crown Hill home, and St. Ambrose Church became a focal point for remembrance, with candles lit and a book of condolence filled with messages. A balloon launch and a march brought Bristol to a standstill, while a baby apple tree was planted in Becky's memory, a symbol of hope amid grief. A serious case review later concluded that Becky's murder couldn't have been predicted, but it highlighted failures to address her wider family dynamics, including Nathan's bullying. Darren channeled his pain into a book, Becky, the heartbreaking story of Becky Watts, vowing never to forgive his stepson. Closing reflection. The murder of Becky Watts is a stark reminder that evil can lurk in the places we feel safest, within the walls of a family home, behind the smiles of those we trust. Her vibrant spirit was extinguished in a moment of unthinkable betrayal, but her memory endures in the love of her family and the community that rallied to honor her. As we reflect on this tragedy, we're left with a haunting question: how well do we truly know those closest to us? For Becky, the answer came too late, but her story urges us to look deeper, to listen closer, and to hold tight to those we love.